you look at media entertainment, I think it is one of the most simplest industries to automate. And our fixed costs, whether it is a TV broadcast, a radio broadcast, or print, uh, is majoritarily contracted and fixed. Whether it is programming, is music royalty, is transmission, is salary-led costs, or GNA and admin-led costs. Uh, and yet, I think the timeliness at which we, or as media industry, largely reports financials is still not matching with the best in the class. So I think that's largely comes out of more of a mindset issue, a more like a discipline issue, which tends to kind of hog us down. What has happened with COVID, and when everybody had to work, from home and had to use cloud, I think this has accelerated and brought about that discipline. So while the use of OCR and robotic process automation and automated accruals for repeated invoices was something which has been there for years. I think it's the key piece is the implementation of that. The change management that was needed in the mindset, because there's always that insecurity amongst people that all this is going to take away my job. I think that's where the finance leadership comes into play to kind of make people understand that it's not about jobs or roles. It's all about doing far more better things and using technology to do the routine. So I think on the entire expense side, we have been able to kind of plan out a data entry operation which automates and does everything in advance, which is already known. On the revenue side, I think the industry largely suffers to a very large extent because of the industry, the way it is happening. Although I think e-invoicing and GST have been big steps towards automation.
We are running 650 screen with the almost 70 cities and 150 locations across the country. It's like bigger than any large retail setup, I would say. And in last financial year, we collected almost 2,000 crore rupees, from our customer, total amount. And out of that, the 50% was cash. Now, dealing with 1,000 crore rupees as a cash, literally, you have to count 50 rupees, 100 rupees, 500 rupees, 1,000 rupees, 2,000 rupees more. That's a kind of setup or massive setup we have. And we generated almost 9 crore invoices last year, in last financial year. Now, considering all these things, it's very critical for us that we have systems where, it works on a real-time basis to know at sitting at corporate office that what we are doing on ground, what is my demand, how many customer has kicked in, on a real-time basis. We have the couple of outsourced partners like the Book My Show, the PTM, who are also selling our tickets. So at the same time, my 150,000 seats will be exposed to my own website on a physical counter across 150 locations. Then we have the Book My Show on a real-time basis and the PTM. So considering this, massive setup, the system is designed in such a manner where, it is booked on a real-time basis. And we also, on my phone, on all the smartphones, we have an app where we can go and access the data on a real-time basis, which shows how many seats has been occupied, how many are vacant.
What is really the trigger for looking at automation? So is it something that is a well thought of process by design? Is it something driven by an unprecedented situation like COVID, or is it some other situation? So I think the message I'm taking back at this is that you've got to keep leveraging technology to make sure we're ready for any situation, whether it's COVID or anything untoward. Okay, to prevent disruption to your business, you have to embrace automation and make sure it's part of your life.
Tableau and some of these dashboards, just like Kailash was speaking, does is that is able to pull data out from your own historical database, your intelligence databases, and third-party subscriptions and other databases, and present it before you based on the query that you have made. They are so easy to kind of manipulate and create that each of these reports can be custom drilled to various specific queries that you have.
RPA works best on processes that are standardizable, are repeatable, So it would be best if, you have maybe a center of excellence or a centralized sort of environment of processing and ideally common systems. That's when you'll really get the, best of the RPA on your process. The other thing is also, one more prerequisite is just don't look for technology, okay? That by itself is not a magic wand. You need to have people who can bridge that gap between technology and the process that you have.
these are some of the sample tools that we kind of try to bucket into different buckets. The different tools on data analytics side for FP&A, automated budgeting, forecasting, fixed assets accounting, compliance management, financial consolidation, bank reconciliations. I mean, you name it, and there are ready-made tools available. So today, honestly, as all our panelists have discussed, availability of technology is not a barrier by any stretch of imagination. Okay, you look for a tool, there will at least be 2 or 3 competing products that are available. What is critical is whether there is a change management mindset, whether there is a digitization mindset. That is something that money cannot buy. Right? You can spend money, buy a license for an IT product, but you can't throw money to kind of get people's buy-in to a change management process. So I think today the critical factor that we're looking at on why some transformation journeys are very successful and some are absolute disasters is that it's totally driven by the people's mindset. Okay, so I think if there is one takeaway, the ecosystem of products and service providers to help you implement is fantastic. We all have to kind of introspect, go back and see whether we have the right team internally who can help us in this journey.